I live in Ibn Delgar in Kuwait. It's a neighborhood of the most absolute and extreme opposites and undergoing a very fast gentrification. And we know what the effects of gentrification are, and we know exactly who gentrification pushes out. But that aside, when I came across the work of Samir Farouk, Flatbread Library, the towering flatbreads, it's exactly what I see in my own neighborhood, men walking with stacks of bread at mealtimes. Samir's project is a large-scale sculpture in the form of a flatbread library. Samir made what he describes as a library because in the same way that a library holds a collection of books, his library holds a collection of flatbreads. His idea was to create a library that shows the history of migration into his city of Toronto and told through breads. And libraries, like breads, are a community service.
But it also confirmed my belief that our bakers are some of our best sculptors.
I'm going to springboard from the sculpture of Samir Farouk's artwork, Flatbread Library, because this use of flatbreads or khubez is significant. The MAFAK MinRASY is to dive into khubez in contemporary Arab art, to understand how khubez and contemporary Arab art practices inform on current social, political, and cultural issues. Khubez is the main food that feeds the Arab world, and khubez forms part of Arab national identity. This is tricky. So the people need bread, which the government controls and secures, and the government needs the people to be under their control through creating national identity narratives. And khubez is part of a national identity. It's also called identity politics. This stream of thinking appears frequently in contemporary Arab art, and it's usually a source of the tension. Political art does not mean that it should be obvious. A term that I like to use is easy art. Set a flag on fire and film it. That's not art. And that's okay. It's definitely a film or a picture, but it's not political art. Political art will draw on points of pressure through visuals or in a thought-provoking process. Political art will put together a story into which social economic policies are informing the art that's viewed. By not thinking a process through, not reading the visual language, reminds me of the book Shu hal-maskhara. As much as this may seem like a statement, it's actually a question. The countless times this has been heard in regards to contemporary art. At Art Dubai in 2016, I bumped into a friend in the Abraj Art Lounge. The Abraj Lounge, complete with the pianist who made his name as the most popular turn at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, really was a gathering of the creme de la creme of Dubai business and finance. It was a great place to find out what was really going on in the Emirates economic scene. He pulled out his phone and showed me a work saying, "Shu hal-maskhara." And then a scene like the ones in a cowboy western movie happened, a quick draw scene. I pulled out my phone and showed the same work. I took a picture of Kader Attia's skyline because it was brilliant, beautiful, and witty. That work, Skyline, is an installation. This is another artwork for Kader Attia titled Integration 2018. This work is a site-specific installation. Installation artworks can be thought of as an environment or a whole experience. A site-specific work, like this one, is a work that Kader would have thought of about the site. Most likely in this case, the site-specific refers to the fact that the museum is in France. Kader is a French Algerian. The bread in the installation is the qasara bread of Algeria, and it's splicing into the wall. Without looking at this work past the eye level, a comment is being made about France and Algeria. The bread will disintegrate. This is where to ask the question, so what happens now? A wound will be created, and that even if repaired or plastered over, there will be traces. Thinking more critically about the khubez may lead to thoughts of economic, political, ideological disintegration, or just take it at face value. It's a visually pleasing work, and that makes it a good work. Whereas Kader wounds the wall with khubez, in Khalid Jarrar's work, there's another wall of apartheid, the idea of circumventing, getting around a circumstance, around the oppression. The image from the video work of Hassan and the Ka'ak became a viral symbol of resistance.
اسحب طول
طول فهد.
ايه
طول على الكاميرا.
ايه
طول على الكاميرا.
شو بتسوي فهد؟
بهرب بالكعب
ليش من هون طيب؟
لانه مش راضي يمرقنا.
ليه مش راضي يمروكوا؟
ايه الممنوع.
يلا روح.
Khubez is a contemporary commodity because it is still a staple food of today. The Arab world is the largest consumer of khubez. The subsidies for khubez are unproportional. So the richer countries have the highest bread subsidies. The poorer countries have little or fluctuating subsidies. Khubez in contemporary Arab art makes more and impactful work from countries who have little to no subsidies.
Pita bread may be flat, but that doesn't mean it's boring.
The point I'm driving here is that khubez is culturally significant in politics, economics, in community, and when it makes an appearance in contemporary Arab art, put down the book Shu hal-maskhara and start thinking thoughts. The artist's intentionality of using khubez is profound. The Fertile Crescent stretches from the Nile to the mouth of the Tigris and Euphrates. Agriculture began here. This is where wheat and other food products were first cultivated. Today, this same region is the largest importer of food in the world because of the constant state of political chaos and wars. This is what makes khubez fragile. The fact that khubez is a main sustenance in the Arab world, yet no one country makes enough wheat and relies on imports, creates for fragile conditions of food security, political security, and civil rest. So who were these institutions that jumped to cultivate the contemporary practices for Arab art? The early institutional adopters for this type of contemporary art practices, meaning that artists could make and display this type of work, were Ashkal Alwan Beirut, Lebanon, 1994, founded by Christine Tourmé. Townhouse Cairo, Egypt, 1998, founded by William Wells. The International Academy Palestine, Bir Zaid Palestine, founded by Henrik Platt. Al-Ma'mal Foundation, Jerusalem, Palestine, 1998, founded by Jack Perzikian. These are all non-profit run institutions, all received grants and funds from major institutional donors, equally from private individuals. Imagine fundraising for a khubez to wound a wall. This is a video work. It's titled Bread for Life. Adil Abdin says about this work, in Egypt, bread is revered as a source of life, almost treated as a sacred object. It comes in various forms, and I once encountered bread so hard that it seemed more suited for drumming than eating. The sound it produced was surprisingly pleasant, resembling that of a musical instrument. In the video, 4 percussionists who make a living by playing rhythms for belly dancers in low-key nightclubs, cabaret, experiment with drumming on the bread to create a rhythmic experience. Art and money, the toxic duo. These are all types of works of art that are also called new media art. They are bought by institutions and equally by private individual collectors. This work, for example, is an edition. One edition was collected by the Kiasma Museum of Contemporary Art in Helsinki, and the other edition was collected by a private collector in Morocco. Another type of contemporary art practice is research art. An excellent article by Kader Attia in Art in America explains the history of research art. This sentence helps describe what it is. During these decades, artists often used archival materials or the form of archive in their works, making research-based art to recuperate overlooked histories and marginalized figures of groups. Let me break this down for you with Ala Yunus's research art, Plans for a Greater Baghdad. The lady in the image is Nuha al-Radi. Nuha al-Radi is an artist who wrote her diaries during the 1991 Gulf War. Baghdad Diaries includes the US sanctions placed on Iraq in the 1990s. This led to food shortages. To tell this part, research of archives would have been accessed. Ala illustrates this specific research. The diary entry referenced is describing an artist's dream in which she had a tree that would grow khubez to feed the hungry.
Hey guys, is there only way for you to make money to be completely irresponsible up to the point not to see shattered lives and even kids turn into just killable beings? And Gaza is today a meat grinder.